you ever wondered where country music came from and how it got to what it is today? Hi, my name is Jayce, and today I'll be talking about how this kind of music started and how it has grown over the years. Today we will discuss first when country music was created. Next we will discuss the growing popularity and the classics involved. And then lastly we will talk about how country music has changed over the years. I feel like I'm credible to talk about this subject because I've listened to country music all my life. I grew up, my parents both listened to country music, and I grew up on the sounds of George Strait, Clay Walker, and Garth Brooks. Okay, so our first topic includes when it was created. So this genre was kind of created in the late 1910s, but it didn't get a foothold in the genre until the early 1920s. This foothold became because an artist in 1924 had his first country hit, or national country hit, with it was called The Wreck of 97. The genre was originated from Southern Appalachian fiddle players, and then after this national hit, this kind of country music became a form. People knew about it and they talked about it, and then other forms of it came, such as country swing, or western swing, bluegrass, and honky tonk. As country grew, it made its way to Hollywood, and that's when Hollywood started making their western and cowboy movies. They made some of the most famous country music with Red River and My Darling Clementine and many others. With these movies being produced and watched all over the United States, the knowledge and popularity grew across the nation. Furthermore, who is called the father of country music is Jimmie Rodgers. He became a national success, which made the popularity of the country music grow and spread around the country. In more detail, Jimmie Rodgers, he was also known as the singing brakeman and America's blues yodeler. According to the Country Music Hall of Fame, Jimmie Rodgers was the father of country music, and he was the first to be inducted into the museum. He was believed to be the one that started it all. He was the one that started country music and how it became what it is today. He was also most famously known for yodeling, and then along with being a singer, he was also a songwriter. Along with Jimmie Rodgers being the father of country music, there was also Bill Monroe, who was the father of bluegrass. And for y'all wondering what bluegrass is, it's a form of old-time mountain hillbilly music with origins in the Great Britain and Western Africa. Along with Billy Monroe, he had a band with two legends, Lester Flatt on guitar and Earl Scruggs on banjo. Okay. Secondly, we will talk about how it became so popular. With that being said, Country Music Hall of Fame was created in 1961, and the first members inducted were Jimmie Rodgers, Fred Rose, and Hank Williams. And then in the 1940s, the genre grew, and the acceptance grew as well. The number of artists boomed, and it was a new favorite among the public. Onward, country music was the most popular in the southern states, such as Tennessee and Texas. Some of the most popular artists consist of George Jones, Hank Williams, his son Hank Williams Jr., George Strait, Garth Brooks, and many others. Over the years, country music has changed drastically. Next, we're going to talk about today's country and how it kind of changed over the years. In the 1980s and 1990s, country music was at its prime with the two greats, George Strait, who's considered the king of country music, and Garth Brooks, with many mega hits. According to the Country Music Association, over 40% of America's population listens to country music. Meanwhile, as the years went on, some of the country began to inch over into pop music, and the meaning of country was changed forever. With artists like Taylor Swift, Luke Bryan, etc., the tone of country music was different and nothing like the classics sound like. Deeper into today's music stars, for example, we have Sam Hunt. He is an amazing singer-performer with many hits on the Country Top 100, but he is a great example of how country music has changed and has now crossing the line with pop and hip-hop. Modern country singers love to flaunt phrases and attitudes borrowed from hip-hop, but Hunt's borrowing are softer and sneakier, observed by Kelly Sinnott and written about in the article published by The Record. Onward, another example is Taylor Swift. When she began her career, she was strictly country, and what she sang was meaningful, was about love. But then as her career went on, she started to cross the line between pop, and her meaning of her songs changed. She started talking about the loss of love and how she didn't like that person for it, instead of keeping a light tone to it. She did this with adding beats that reflected the influence of pop. Also, her messages changed as well. Overall, Taylor Swift was and is still a great artist today, but she is a perfect example of how country music has changed over the past years. With that being said, the idea of country music has been modernized and has changed so much over the last 20 years. But as an avid country music fan, I always listen to older country music to keep the original feel of it. In conclusion, first we talked about when this music was created, then we talked about the growing popularity in the classics, and finally we talked about how country music has changed. Lastly, when you think of country music, think of George Strait, Garth Brooks, and Jimmy Rogers instead of Sam Hunt and Taylor Swift. Thank you for your time.